Cristiano Ronaldo, 41 years old. I'm opening this video straight away with the most controversial name because Ronaldo scoring a goal doesn't change anything. By the time he scores that goal, he's already wasted 20 chances in front of him. Portugal had plenty of young, hungry attackers who wouldn't have missed those chances. But for the sake of nostalgia worship, they insisted on putting Ronaldo in the squad, and without realizing it, they're sabotaging the World Cup for Portugal. Look, the people of Portugal deserve a World Cup to the fullest. Ronaldo deserves one too, but today, almost every ball played to him becomes a wasted ball. Indeed, in the opening match, Portugal were held by DR Congo and played the game with the fewest shots in their history. Every ball that came to Ronaldo died. He couldn't make use of a single one. A 41-year-old legend no longer plays like a legend. Make sure you watch this video to the end. I'll show you the real legend. Now, the next name sabotages his team in a completely different way. Neymar Jr., 34 years old. Brazil came to this World Cup officially one man short. Think about it like this. You start as if one of your players has already been sent off with a red card from the very first minute. Because Neymar is no longer that old Neymar. He's been battling injuries for years. There's always a problem from his calf to his knee, and he barely even made it into the squad at the last moment. There were plenty of young Brazilians in form and scoring who could have taken his place, but Ancelotti still insisted on picking Neymar. And here's something else we shouldn't forget. Brazil have completed all 3 group games, and Neymar didn't play a single minute. Why? Because he's injured. Ancelotti put an injured man in the squad. That's exactly why, without realizing it, has sabotaged the World Cup for Brazilian fans. Because taking a star who is out of form and injured isn't actually helping the team. It means playing a man down. This is not what that 5-star legendary shirt deserves. The next name sabotages Spain in a completely different way. Ferran Torres, 26 years old, and the way he sabotages Spain is very simple, by missing the goals right in front of him. Think about the opening match. Spain faced tiny Cape Verde, a country with a population of just 500,000. On paper, a team that should win this game with its eyes closed. Honestly, if they'd put 3 goalkeepers, 6 defenders, and 2 guys from the coaching staff on the pitch, they'd have won. But it didn't happen because Ferran Torres was on stage. He played a full 81 minutes, took 4 shots, and most painfully, from 6 yards out, he hit the woodwork with that clear chance into what was almost an open goal, an unforgivable miss for a striker. The result? Spain couldn't score a single goal despite taking 27 shots and got stuck against that tiny island team. This is exactly what sabotage is. A team's entire dominance gets thrown away by one player's lack of finishing. A European champion team drops points because of its striker, by the way. Don't forget to subscribe for more realistic reviews like this. The next name disappoints. Argentina, in a completely different way. Lautaro Martinez, 28 years old, and a complete puzzle for Argentina, because at his club, he's a totally different man, and with the national team, another. When he wears the Inter shirt, he's practically a goal machine. This season, he became the Serie A top scorer with 17 goals, his club's 3rd highest scorer of all time. But that same Lautaro Martinez, when he puts on the Argentina shirt, becomes like a -1 player on the pitch. Think about the Australia match. He came on as a subtrato and wasted a full 4 clear goal-scoring chances. The Italian press named him the worst player on the pitch and wrote, "This is the worst version of Lautaro." Even more striking, he still hasn't scored a single goal at this tournament. In fact, even when Argentina lifted the trophy in 2022, he was silent and didn't score. This is what sabotage is. His country relies on him, but by missing the easiest goals, he puts the team at risk every match. For a top scorer to be this ineffective in the national shirt is a huge loss for a whole Argentina. He's definitely sabotaging the World Cup. The next name is Belgium's greatest tragedy. Kevin De Bruyne, 34 years old, and Belgium's greatest tragedy, because he was once, without question, the best midfielder in the world, but those days are now behind him. Belgium's famous golden generation has aged, and now the entire load is on De Bruyne's shoulders. But here's the problem. He's 34 now too, and his old pace, his old impact are gone. Unlike Ronaldo, De Bruyne tries to do everything on his own because of the lack of quality around him, and that makes things even worse. In this tournament, Belgium have played 2 matches and failed to score in both. They got stuck against Egypt and drew goalless with Iran. This is where the sabotage lies. If a team pins all its hopes on a single name who is already well past his peak, and that name can no longer carry it, this is what you get. A legend's final tournament is about to turn into a disappointment, and in my opinion, he's one of those names sabotaging the World Cup who give no joy to watch. The next name was once a star of the World Cup, but not much remains of those days. James Rodriguez, 34 years old, and this is the saddest story, because he was once the man who enchanted an entire World Cup, all on his own. Remember, at the 2014 World Cup, the world was talking about him. He became the top scorer of that tournament, and with those magnificent goals, he became the brightest star on the planet, transferring directly to Real Madrid. A whole country, Colombia, rose on his shoulders, but not much remains of those days. Today, watching him on the pitch, you see only a shadow of that old James. If I asked you right now which team James Rodriguez plays for, how many people would even know? Those who do, write it in the comments. I'm curious how many we are. At this tournament, in Colombia's opening match, he created almost no impact on the right wing and was substituted off, showing every day of his 34 years. The team still waits for that old magical James, but that star is gone. The bright name of the past has started to become a burden to his team. In my opinion, James is the other name sabotaging the World Cup. The next name sabotages Spain, just like the others. Mikel Oyarzabal, 29 years old, though I think his face looks at least 34, and he's the very embodiment of Spain's centre-forward problem, because this European champion team has no real world-class goalscorer, and he's the name expected to fill that gap. Let's go back to that Cape Verde match again. Oyarzabal broke a record that night. You won't believe when you hear it. Since 1966, he became the first forward not to touch the ball even once in the first half hour of a World Cup match. Think about it. Spain are on the ball with 74% possession, taking 27 shots, but their centre forward is practically invisible on the pitch. There's no worse picture than this for a striker. This is Spain's sabotage. They have the best midfield in the world, but up front, there's no real finisher to turn the ball into goals. Where are those old Torres type? Their entire dominance evaporates in the absence of a striker. And now, we've reached the moment I promised. For 7 names, we've seen stars sabotaging their teams. The next and final name is the complete opposite. He's the real legend who single-handedly sabotages an entire tournament. Lionel Messi, 38 years old. And here's the real legend I promised you from the very beginning. Because Messi is practically a cheat code in the game of football, it's as if he has wall hack switched on. He sees everyone. He knows every gap before it opens. In his first match, he scored a hat-trick. In his second match, he scored 2 goals, despite barely doing anything but walking for 90 minutes. On top of that, at this tournament, he broke Klose's World Cup goal-scoring record that had stood unbroken for years. At 38, looking like he's playing on one leg, he still becomes the nightmare of every opponent. And there are still people who call this man worse than Ronaldo, when Messi right now is playing on a completely different planet. And here's the most beautiful irony. While the other 7 stars in this video sabotage their teams, Messi does the complete opposite. He plays so well that he single-handedly sabotages the World Cup dream of every other team. Don't forget to subscribe for the next video. So here they are, the 7 stars sabotaging this tournament for their own teams, and the one real legend who overshadows them all. So which of these 7 names do you think is the biggest disappointment? Or is Messi really different from all of them on a completely different level? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now.